So today, so today we're looking at this a powerful book of creative mind and success and so on. And we are beginning with the first set of chapters. And for those who have read, you will understand this is a transformational stuff. And there are a couple of things that maybe you've read the book and you must have understood, or you have come to a level of understanding why some people operate the way they operate, why some people perform the way they actually perform, right? And one of the first things that I want to talk about is life is consciousness. Life is consciousness. That is why one of the most powerful forces on earth is the force of intentionality. Your level of intentionality towards anything has a lot of power, has an automatic spiritual backing, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you believe in Christ or not. When the power, when the realm of consciousness is activated towards anything, the results are different. That is why there's open many like motivational speakers who talk about stop existing and start living. What they're trying to say is start bringing a certain level of consciousness, a certain level of intentionality into anything that you do as a person. And that's why um, the book also talks about that, you know, this is not a wall of illusion, but that of realities. It's not just general illusions, but it's a wall of realities. Anything that you see, feel, and touch is a reality, but it is also a reality of something. It's a reality caused by something. And you only know the truth of a reality when the why of your living is established. You only know the truth of your own reality when the why of your living, when the why of your life is established. That is why one of the most powerful people on earth is that purposeful person. That person that has a clear understanding of their purpose, of why they are living. When that is established, a lot of things actually change as far as that person's ability to perform at a peak level is concerned. So there is a direct relationship between peak performance and understanding the why of your existence or of your living. When we have a higher understanding of life, some bad experiences can be avoided. That's one thing we must learn in that book. When you have a certain understanding, when you have a certain understanding or a higher understanding of life, some bad experiences can be avoided. Why? Because you also function from a place of control. Yes, because you can control many things with the power of consciousness, the power of thought, as far as being a young person is concerned. And you make things out of yourself through self-knowing, self-recognition, and self-thinking or self-thinking. You make things out of yourself. This is very funny right now, and this sounds somehow. But the truth is that for everything that you have ever manifested in life, it came out of yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't recognize God, but it means that you are tapping into the power that God has already given you. So every human being actually has the power to make things out of themselves. So whatever life you are living right now, you are responsible for making that thing out of yourself. And you made it out of yourself through self-knowing how you know thyself. Now I always like to say, in all thy doing, make sure you know thyself. Right? So how you know yourself has a big role to play in how you make things out of yourself, out of your own life. How you recognize yourself has a strong responsibility to how you make things out of your life. How do you recognize yourself? Do you recognize yourself as a self-confident person, or a low self-esteem person. That was what people will say that, like you're ramming when you said, "Naso Ademe, I shout at you." That's not how you are. You are just trying to activate a negative power by using the wrong self-recognition principle. You try to correct somebody from a bad character. You try to tell somebody to speak boldly and to be confident in how they talk. They will boldly say, "Naso Ademe." Who told you that that's how you are? It is you that is activating that force of self-recognition and recognizing but the wrong things. Start recognizing yourself that you are incredible, you are rare, you are remarkable, you can disrupt things, you can innovate things, you can change things, you can, where you enter, there is a new realm, there's a new space, there's a new species. Anything happens different when you enter a place. That is self-recognition. And of course, self-thinking, your thoughts. So all of these three things, self-knowing, self-recognition, and self-thinking, are three key elements that helps you to make good or bad things out of thyself. So things are not material but spiritual. That's why, because God made make things out of himself. Nothing is just material. Even this laptop or what the phone that they're using or whatever you're using, it's not just the material. All of these things are spiritual first, because God makes things out of himself. And since man is made out of God and man get to make things, automatically those things are made out of God, because by him and through him everything was made. You see, and this is a principle that, unfortunately for Christians, even people who are non-Christians practice these things better than us who are Christians. So man is made out of God and he partakes out of the nature of God. This is very powerful for us to understand. You and I are made out of God, right? And as we are made out of God, we partake out of God. Man is the center of God. Man is the center of God. So when you are behaving somehow in terms of your habits and lifestyle and actions and thoughts, you are underperforming. You are underperforming. And you are not partaking out of the nature of God, because the nature of God is that of excellence, is that of creation, is that of multiplication, is that of success, is that of hope, is that of good thought, is that of renewed mind. That is the nature of God. So if you have these kind of things, you are partaking out of the nature of God and you're performing like an element who is at the center of God. Same for your career and your business. Your career is made out of God. Your business that you have started right now is made out of God. You see, that's why man's mind is made out of God's mind. Man did not make it so, but it is so. Follow this carefully. Man's mind, your mind is made out of God's mind. Your mind is made out of God's mind, and you did not make it so. It is so. That is a universal law. Whether you're a sinner or not, whether you're conscious about it or not, your mind is made out of God's mind, and you are not responsible for that. So even your sin cannot destroy that. But the point is that when you're in sin, you are not conscious of that. You're unconscious about it. When if you are ignorant about it, you're unconscious about it. So you cannot activate that power, that special grace that is only activated when you know that your mind is made out of God's mind. And it's a law that you have nothing to do about it. You did not make it so. It is so is a universal law that existed before you and I were born. So the only option that we have is to tap into this law, leverage into this law, and make it work for ourselves. That's why somebody can live as an underdog from a poor family, struggling family, and you can see them on a war stage if you can only tap into this. So this is a law that it works beyond the power of bad governance and bad leadership. bad political sphere, and so on. You can read stories of great men where they left from terrible backgrounds, but they started harnessing into all of this power. You see? So as God governed the universal world, so it is man, so is man governing his individual world. Yes. God governs the universal world, and man governs his individual world. So your actions, your daily actions, your daily habits, your daily lifestyle, your daily thoughts, your daily words, whatever that you set out to do, that is you governing your own world. While your own world is a subset of the world of God that is governed by God. So if you don't govern your world and God governs his own world, you're not going to succeed. Now, this is tricky. God is always right. So it means that he governs his own ecosystem well. If you don't govern your own ecosystem well, no matter how perfect the ecosystem of God is, your ecosystem will be a failure. That's why in the same society, some people make it and some people fail. It's because some people are able to govern their own ecosystem to fit or to sync with the ecosystem of God, with the excellency in the ecosystem of God. So the question to you is, are you governing your individual ecosystem the right way, in a way that you can tap from the resources and the excellency of God's own ecosystem that he is governing right? Because we know God can never be wrong. God does not make mistakes. So his own ecosystem is always right. The point is are we right? Are we governing our own individual world or our own ecosystem the right way? That's the challenge. That is always the big challenge. So as God governs the universal ecosystem or the universal world, so is man's responsibility to govern his or her own world or ecosystem. And that is why your daily actions, your daily thoughts, your daily words, the people you relate with, the kind of environment where you find yourself, all of these things perform a big role in your overall peak performance. You are still following, indicate in the chat box that you are not sleeping and you're following and you're gaining something. Good. Are you getting some insights? People who are sleeping on their bed are sleeping. Okay, excellent. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. So in that book, you will get to also understand that man has the same life as God. So man uses the same creative process as God. Man, this is way too much for an average mind to understand. But everybody can understand if you choose to understand. Man has the same life as God. For this particular concept of peak performance to start happening in your life, you need to believe that you have the same life as God. And when you have the same life as God, something begins to happen. You use the same creative process as God. That means the process that God went through to create heaven and earth is the same process that you can go through to create anything. It's the process that these guys went through to build laptops, to build phones, to build platforms like Zoom and Facebook, to build buildings, to build whatever thing that you see and you begin to marvel. How did they do this? What is the process? They went through the same creative process as God. And that creative process, you begin to tap into your most inner strength. That's why the imagination is very powerful. Ideation is very powerful, where you just sit and start ideating what ifs, what are the possibilities of this and this and this, what if. So you have the same creative process as God. So you need to start believing that, and believing that you can create incredible things for your life. You can create innovative ideas. You can sit, and that's why the main power of creative process is for you to build your mind in the right way, have the right consciousness, have the right information, be in the right environment. When this starts happening, you start being in that ability where you can create things like God creates things. You cannot have the wrong consciousness and expect to command the same creative process like God. That's why by the activity of our thoughts, things come into life. And we are limited if we do not know the truth. Yes, by the activity of our thought, things come to life. That's why the quality of your thought is important. That's why the kind of things you think about is very important. Because by the activity of your thought, whether negative thought or positive thought, by the activity of your thoughts regarding your career, regarding your business, everything you think about it concerning your thoughts and your business and your career will definitely come to life. And we are limited if we do not know this truth. That's why majority of Africans are limited, because they have not paid the price to really sit and understand this truth. You see, that's why there's a sentence there in that book which I really love. It says that according to the clearness of his perception and the greatness of his realization of this power, of this power will he provide within himself a starting point through which God may operate. Yes, when you have this realization, when you have this clear perception that the activity of your thoughts make things to come into life, you begin to understand that it is your responsibility to provide a starting point through which God will operate in your life. So your thoughts, your perception, your thought about yourself, your thought about the kind of career you want to build, your thought about the kind of company you want to run and build tomorrow. These thoughts are the starting point through which God will operate with you. They are the starting point through which God will operate with you. So the question is, what is your starting point? So the question is, remember we spoke about God governing his own ecosystem and you governing your own ecosystem. So it means that for God's ecosystem to be activated to work for you, you need to make sure that you govern your own ecosystem right. Because the right governance of your own ecosystem is the starting point through which God will operate with you and your ecosystem. You see, that is why for those who are going through the mentorship program, there's the book they are going through, the 35 days of defining your success. There's a place talk about where are you on stock at the beginning of the book. Because you need to start unstocking yourself first before you start experiencing a new realm of success. If that is not done, you will always have the wrong ecosystem. If you keep saying that, I am confused, I am dull, I am stupid, I don't know what to do with my life. You keep saying all of those things. That is you governing your own ecosystem. So you need to be more solution oriented. Oh, this is not going. I need to find a way out of it. I need to seek help. I need to do this. And you're always creating a growth oriented, solution oriented ecosystem around you. So understand that thought governs your conditions and decide whether you are to be a success or a failure. Yes, your thought governs your condition wherever you are right now in life at this particular moment. The weight of your bank account right now, the size of your career, the size of your business, the type of friends you have right now, the type of mindset, the kind of whatever, where you are right now, everything, every condition that you are right now it was bettered by your thoughts. Your thoughts govern your conditions, whether you like it or not, whether you are conscious about this or you are not. Is a universal law. So your only option is to be conscious about it and start activating it for your sake. So whether you decide to be a success or a failure, the outcome of that condition, your thought, governs that. In our lives of conditions, we are the cause, and nothing moves except as our mind moves it. Very powerful. Nothing will move in our life except our mind moves it. Because remember that the universe or God's ecosystem will only, that's why there are some people like atheists who believe that in the universe, and they have a one powerful belief: I need to do good. I need to think right. I need to make sure I am upright in my thought, in my actions, and in the way I deal with people. And when I do that, the universe will give me back what I give it to the universe. What I'm trying to say is that, I'm going to respect myself and govern my ecosystem to fit the ecosystem of God, so that the ecosystem of God will only give me back what I give it. That's why your ecosystem, you govern your ecosystem the wrong way, you will never tap from the beauty and the excellence of God's ecosystem. You get the point? That's why it says that nothing will move except our mind moves it. God will not move anything into your ecosystem except your ecosystem moves it to fit into God's ecosystem. So in our lives of conditions, we are the cause. Every condition in your life right now, your mind is the cause. There's a law of cause and effect. Something must cause an effect. So your mind is the cause of every condition. And that is why, except your mind moves it, nothing is going to move. So at all times, as human beings, as peak performers, at all times, we are either drawing things to us or we are pushing things away from us. That's what is always happening. Like right now, as I'm doing this teaching right now, it's either you're drawing these things into you or you're pushing these things away from you. Either you are believing these things and having a plan on how to make good use of it so it can manifest in your life, or you're pushing it away by not concentrating, by not focusing, or by not even believing whether these things work. Now, I was sharing with you guys one time, I don't know if it was here, but somebody came to my office one time and said, there are some of these things you used to say to us in Kumbu and we used to laugh. It's now we are seeing the reality because we used to grow up together in Kumbu and I started these things that we used to talk about it. But it's now they're saying that, oh, these things work. I was having a different lifestyle, what I'm thinking than them, and they didn't understand that. It's now they are realizing the truth, and it's now many of them are deciding to come that, okay, you know what, I think I should start being intentional about some of these things. So at all times, whether you are eating, whether you're watching movies, whether you're walking on the street, whether you're sleeping, whether you're doing whatever that you're doing, at all times, you have two options. We are either drawing things to us through the right thinking, the right actions, the right habits, the right visions, the right people, the right environment, or we are pushing things away from us through bad habits, bad thoughts, bad friends, bad actions, bad access to information. That is how you push things away from you. In the ordinary individual, this process goes on without him ever knowing it consciously. Yes, an ordinary human being, they draw things into them and they push things away from them without knowing when they're doing it. That's what an ordinary human being will do. But a peak performer like you and I, we are not ignorant of this law, because ignorance will not excuse you from the effect of this law. No way. As peak performers, we are conscious of this law. We are conscious of this fact that we are either drawing things into us or we are pushing things away from us. We are not ignorant because we are not ordinary. We are peak performers. We operate from a superior level of stuff. So we are drawing the right things into us by taking the right actions and the right thoughts. You see? So if we are thinking of ourselves as poor and as needy people, then the mind has no choice but to return what we have taught into it. Yes. If you think of yourself that you are poor, if you think of yourself that you are needy, the mind will have no choice but to return that which you think back to you. So if your ecosystem, if your individual world or your individual ecosystem is thinking of things, is thinking about yourself that you are dull, you are poor, you need things, you are confused, you are stuck, you will never make it in life, you have low self-esteem, you cannot speak well in public, you cannot do a good presentation like this. If that is what your mind is giving you, if that is what your mind is thinking, if that is what you are driving as your thought, the mind, your ecosystem has no choice but to return but that exact thought back to God's own ecosystem. And that is what that ecosystem delivers back to you: failure and needy and poverty. The law of cause and effect. Remember, whatever condition in your life right now was caused by you, your own thoughts. Don't bring your family here. We don't have perfect families and all of that. Yes, it's true. We have your families and all of that. Yes. We have terrible government. Yes. But it's your job to govern your own ecosystem the right way. That is your job to do that. You know, investigation proves that behind every condition, whether condition of the body, whether condition of the environment, there has been some thought. Behind every condition, every condition was enhanced or activated by a thought. Every condition in our life was activated by a thought, whether conscious or unconscious, which produced that condition. Unconscious thought can produce a condition. Conscious thought can produce a condition. So choose to be conscious. Choose to be. So choose to be conscious in this particular journey. So, and we are going to discover that all thought has some power in our lives and over our conditions. We are making our environment by the creative power of our thought. Yes, largely part of your environment, you make a big part of the environment by the creative power of your thought. Yes, you know, you can be in a poor environment, but your thought is that of wealth, is that of riches and all of that. And that's why you see people that they can work so hard with the right thoughts and they live from a poor quarter and live in a good quarter. They live from a poor country to a big country. They live from a failure or struggling with hand-to-mouth income and become millionaires. It's possible because their thoughts, they were able to make their environment by the creative power of their thoughts. Like I was talking to my mentees yesterday when I was focusing on business, those who are doing business and their business has been existing for 2 years and above, and they are not making monthly profit of at least 500,000 francs, like worst case scenario. And I was telling them one of the things yesterday is that if they don't believe that that business is going to succeed and put food on their table, make them a millionaire, and help them recruit 1,000 people, it will never happen. And that's what I was speaking against it. You see an entrepreneur, you are trying to build a business, but you're applying for jobs. You see, it means your ecosystem is wrong automatically, and it means that you're confusing God's own ecosystem. Should I give this one a job or should I give this one a business? You remember that? Because the ecosystem of God will only give you back what your ecosystem is attracting through the right thoughts. And that's why I look at people who have made it big. When they ascertain their purpose, they ascertain their life path, they dedicate the rest of their life pursuing that path, and they always harness it. One of the best decisions I made in my life was when I made up in my head, look, it's either this training and consulting make me or I don't succeed in life. I used to do this thing also. Several years I used to be trying to build the training center, trying to build a training career, and I'm looking for a job at the same time. But the day I decided, look, forget about work. It's either you build this thing or you don't. It's either you die hungry because you don't have food to eat, or you leave. Simple. And I stopped applying for jobs. If I send a CV anywhere, I am bidding for a consulting contract, for a training contract. Maybe I'm looking for a job. And when that started happening, this thing started feeding me. I got my ecosystem right. It was very clear. God knew that, okay, this is what this one wants. So let me give him this thing that he needs. I was not confusing God. I was not confusing my own village people at the same time. Some of you, your village people are not even fighting because they don't even know where to fight to. They don't know whether should they go and block you from job interview or should they go and block your business. Nobody's actually fighting you. You are the one fighting yourself because you have the wrong ecosystem. A witch can only fight what they understand. Do you know that? For those who operate at that realm. So since you are still confusing, they cannot even fight you. Your village gods cannot even fight you because your confusion alone is a battle for you. It's already stopping your success. Nobody fights a confused. Nobody has time for a confused human being. Get your ecosystem the right way. So if you're still confused here, you're still confused really what do you want to do with your life, that is you reducing the speed of your success. There was one of these people that was asking me, because no doubt, when it comes to training and consulting, I am always on the news. I am always on it. Either I'm on a TV channel somewhere, international TV, I'm written on an award somewhere, all of that. I am always on the news. For the last 7 years, I'm consistently on the news. And it's not going to stop. I am very certain about that. It is not going to stop. I have all the elements put in place to make sure that will be. Because, it's one thing to get to the top, and if you want to remain at the top and continue going to the top, and it takes certain things. And one of the things I'm teaching you guys, get your ecosystem the right way. I told you guys the main yesterday. At the age of 80, you will still see me holding the mic and holding a worker stick and training. You will still see me doing that. And I've told you guys several times, if you look at my logo, it's not here, look at my logo, you'll see that my logo states speaker, trainer, consultant, and entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not part of I am not a CEO. I just build companies so that I can use it as a tool to sell what I do, because the only trust as a business consultant if I have my own business. I know what I'm supposed to, I know what, and I'm building my ecosystem around it so that God's ecosystem can deliver to me what I need to succeed. So let us wake up, guys. It's time for you to start settling in and being very sure it is this or not. It is either plan A or no plan at all. That's what I told myself several years back. Joybert is either training and consulting or nothing else. And then you go after it. So we are making our environments by the creative power of our thought. We are making our careers by the creative power of our thought. We are making our businesses by the creative power of our thought. You see, every business, every place, every person, every career, everything has a certain mental atmosphere of its own. Yes, your business right now, your career has a certain atmosphere of its own. Now, I was telling you guys, I'll always be on the news because I have created a certain atmosphere around my business, around my career. It is certain. I was telling somebody already, if Cosdev Group burns down now, give me 1 year, I will rebuild back a better Cosdev Group. Cosdev Group is not the building there. It's not the fire. It's not what you see there. It's beyond that. If you blackmail me today and destroy my brand today, give me 1 year. I will rebuild a fresh, better brand. The atmosphere I have around me is bigger than what anybody can try to do. Way, way bigger. It's bigger than what the partnership of Povia can do. You get the point? Every business, every place, every person, every career, everything has a certain atmosphere of its own. It's either a negative atmosphere or a positive atmosphere. This atmosphere decides what is to be drawn to it. This atmosphere decides what is to be drawn to it. For instance, you never see a successful man who went around with an atmosphere of failure. Successful people think about success. A successful man is filled with that subtle something, with that subtle spirit, with that subtle consciousness that which permits him, which permits everything that he does with an atmosphere of confidence and strength. That's what happens. For instance, in the mentorship program, one of the things I ask you guys is in the book we're using for the mentorship is, have you created a success atmosphere? Your career, are you having the right success? Like for those I was saying earlier, you are looking for a job, you're trying to build a business, you don't know whether you're looking for a job or you're building a business, you don't know you're an entrepreneur or you're a worker, an employee, you don't know whether you're a job seeker or an entrepreneur, you're confused. It means you have no atmosphere around you actually. You are not self-confident. You believe that you cannot make it in this country, all of that. You have a terrible atmosphere around you. Have you noticed that when you are in the presence of some people, you feel as if you can achieve anything? Have you noticed that? Like you're in the presence of somebody, there's somebody, you enter his presence or you listen to that person, you feel like that particular moment, you are in an element, you are element whereby you can achieve anything. What is happening is that you have entered that person's atmosphere. Yes, you have entered that person's stage. Like I have a couple of people. There's one lady here in Bonabera. She runs a business. When she's struggling in her business or she feels something, she just comes to the office and sit on the chair. And I just wanted to come and see you, and you talk to me, and then I go back. As soon as she comes and she brings money, I just want to give you this and sit around you. Just to do your work, but let me sit. To her, she feels that when she's around me, she gets a certain different atmosphere. I mean, it happened, I think, 2 days ago, right? So in the presence of some people, we feel as if nothing is too big to undertake. Nothing is too big to start. But immediately you leave that place or you leave that person, some terrible, horrible thoughts start coming back in and you start feeling like a failure, like you cannot start anything. It's because you have left his own atmosphere of success and you have entered your atmosphere of failure and struggle. So that's why when somebody meets, let me rephrase this. That's why people, when I coach, there are some people that when I coach and they leave, they go succeed very well because they already have their success atmosphere prepared. So they leave my success atmosphere and they go continue in their own success atmosphere and they make things happen. Meanwhile, there are some people that the same coach, the same strategies, the same words, almost everything is designed for them. They go and fail. Or they go and struggle. They are not struggling because it didn't work or the idea is bad. It's because their atmosphere is not yet at that level and they don't listen. They don't listen. That's some people when they come, I recommend that I have some recordings I have done. I give them, okay, listen to this, read this, my book. And that's why for those of my mentees, you go through 35 days first. That's the first stage of the mentorship program. We go through that. That's me reformatting, right? Reformatting, you download whatever you're doing, and then we delete it, and then we insert new information. That is when success starts happening. We need to reformat the old atmosphere, delete the old atmosphere, and then insert the atmosphere of success. That's why we're around some people, we feel uplifted. We are inspired to do great things. We feel like we can accomplish things. We feel strong. We feel steady, sure, right? with a power we feel in the presence of big souls, strong men, and noble women. Yes, when you are around a noble man, you're around a strong man, you're around a noble woman, you feel uplifted, you feel strong, you feel accomplished, you feel inspired, you feel challenged, you feel that you can undertake these things and get it done. And that's why wealthy people, successful people pay for coaches. Because there's one thing a good coach has, a good consultant has, is that they command a certain level of atmosphere. And that's why coaching and consulting is beyond just sense. There's a certain level of spirituality attached to it. You need to command the atmosphere. You need to challenge the atmosphere. You need to step into an environment and there should be a commotion happening. Somebody needs to step into an environment and feel different, feel uplifted. Like so many people, that's why some people, when they talk to me, say, I felt better talking to you. Many of you here have said that. I felt better talking to you. You see? So it because there's an atmosphere that you were under when that was activated. That's why I always want people that I'm mentoring into public speaking. Be careful the kind of spirit you command, because like I'm speaking to you right now, I am transferring a part of me into all of you. That's why be careful who you listen to. Be careful to the churches you go to. Be careful to who lay hands on you. Don't just go to any crusade, anybody, anytime I just lay hands on you. You don't know what they're taking. You don't know what they're giving. You don't know the kind of atmosphere they're operating under, and you are just collecting. Some of you may be struggling because every church you went through, anybody will lay hands on you. You are under any kind of atmosphere. You need to be very careful about those things. And same on the street. And I always have a good atmosphere. Same on the street. Everybody will live like this morning. This is a new week. Everybody's going to set out with an atmosphere backing them. And it's either a negative atmosphere or a good atmosphere. Ordinary men will go out with an atmosphere that they're not even aware of. They're even unconscious about it. They have no idea whether they have an atmosphere or not. They're just living, they're enjoying, they're just existing. They're just like human beings. They're just like a fowl that an Okada man can jam and he dies. That's just how they live it. But some people live with a conscious atmosphere. Like when I set out, I know that it's my job to influence anywhere I find myself. My atmosphere has to influence any other atmosphere. What they like to say in church, power, jam power, right? Yes. So that is it. Okay, people, let us end today. And this book is deep, very deep. And I know that when people get it right, this will be the turning point or the enhancing point of the life of your life as far as you're concerned. Okay, we're going to continue from here tomorrow. Okay, now I want to take reactions.